Hello, I'm Linda from Scullywag Astrology, and this is the October full moon horoscope. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is the chart. It's set for the 13th of October in Chicago. If you're in the United States or North America, the full moon will be happening on the afternoon or early evening of the 13th of October. If you're in Australia, it will be early morning of the 14th of October. So the moon is in the sign of Aries, you can see here, and the sun, which will be opposite, is in the sign of Libra. That's because the full moon is about the opposition of the sun and the moon. So for our Aries ascendants, the moon is in your first house. The first house is all to do with ourselves. This is also our appearance, our body, and how we're perceived by others. And as the moon is in such a visible house, you may appear more emotional to others at this time as well. But when it comes to reaching a culmination or an ending or a harvest, it's likely to be in relation to something to do specifically just with you and quite possibly to do with your appearance. If you're a Taurus, the full moon or the moon will be in your 12th house. 12th house is related to things like seclusion and hidden things. It's also known as the house of our undoing. It's things like addictions and incarceration. It's also related to our dreams and and when I say dreams, I don't mean hopes and dreams. That's more of a 11th house topic, but subconscious, I suppose, is a better word for the 12th house, because you can see somebody, you can look at them and you can see them, but you don't know what's going on in their life, in their inner world. And I suppose the 12th house is that inner world. So maybe you've been working through issues related to some psychological issues, or it could be just that you've taken a step back, you've retreated, you've had some downtime to recharge, and that time is now coming to some sort of ending or a culmination. If you are a Gemini, this will be occurring in your 11th house. So this is related to groups, friends, and organizations. So you might have something to do with a friend or people that you know through a group. There might be something happening. There might be an event that is going to be held, or yes, just something related to that. The 11th house is also our hopes and dreams. So it could be that, if you've been kind of working hard towards a special project, this may be a time that this comes to some sort of culmination. For our Cancers, the moon will be in your 10th house. Again, this is probably the most visible part of your chart. The first house is visible because it's how we appear to others, but the 10th house represents our most visible house. So you're already a sign known for being in touch with your emotions. You are ruled by the moon. So you may find that for some reason your emotions are on center stage at this time. This needn't be a bad thing either. I mean, this could be you're becoming a parent, or you're getting married, or something. It could be an expression of good emotion. It doesn't necessarily need to be negative. For Cancer, the moon will be in your 10th house, which is the most visible house in the chart. So your emotions might be on display in some way, similar to the first house, because the first house is about how we appear to others. That's something that's visible to others. The 10th house is fame and infamy, amongst other things, and our career. So it may be that to do with work, or just to do with you in general. For some reason, there's a focus on you and your emotions. And this needn't be a negative thing. This might be quite good emotions. It might be becoming a parent, getting engaged, getting married, celebrating some success, particularly because it is a 10th house. It's related to our career. So it's quite possibly, hopefully, a good expression of emotion. But it is possible for some that, it is about endings as well. So there is a possibility that you might be upset. But, that applies for all the signs, not just Cancer. But as I said, because it's 10th house, it does tend to be more visible at this time. For our Leos, it will be in the 9th house. So this may be related to something to do with higher education or overseas or foreigners or cultures. It can also be philosophy. It could be to do with the law or publishing. So there's likely to be a focus on these matters at this time. There's some sort of ending or culmination or harvest of these things. For our Virgos, this is going to be in the 8th house of other people's money. This is a house often related to death, sex, and taxes. So it could be if you've been working with somebody because it's shared resources and shared monies, there may be some sort of culmination here. It could be that you're paying off a loan. It could be for Virgo, the moon will be in your 8th house for other people's money. So this is an area traditionally associated with death, sex, and taxes. So this could be the culmination or the ending to do with something like that. It could be related to insurance, taxation. It could be related to an inheritance, or it could be finalizing the details of a loan. It could also be something to do with shared resources, particularly resources with your partner. Maybe you're doing up some paperwork that's related to that. Then we have Libra. For Libra ascendants, the moon will be in your 7th house. So now your focus is turning to partnership issues. This is probably more related to romantic relationships or marriage partners or your significant other, but it can also include business relationships. So there might be something being finalized at this time. You're making some sort of plans. There's some sort of culmination or harvest in this area of your life. For Scorpio, the moon will be in your 6th house. The 6th house relates to our health and also our daily routines and also our animals. Animals up to, I think it's the size of a horse or maybe it's a goat. I can never remember. But those things may have some sort of culmination, ending, or harvest. So you may be seeing some results now of you've been dieting or exercising and now you get to see the results. Or, for example, for pets, maybe you show dogs or something and, now is the time where you go up before the judges and, that's a culmination if you've been training that dog to do that. Or maybe, you've had a puppy that's been at puppy school and it's coming up for its graduation. Sagittarius has this happening in their 5th house, which is a nice house to be having the full moon in. Full moon is related to our children, but it's also just a really fun house. It's about what we do for pleasure. It's about creativity. It's about sport. It's about gambling. It's about love affairs. It's just all the fun things we do. So if you've been planning something in that area of your life, it's likely to be kind of coming to some sort of high peak now. So just keep an eye out for that. Those are the matters that you need to be focusing on at this time and are likely to take your attention at this time. For Capricorn, we have the 4th house. The 4th house is the most private area of our chart, as I was talking about Cancer earlier, which is opposite Capricorn. The 10th house is the most visible. The 4th house is the most hidden because it's our very private area. It tends to be our close family and our home. So there might be some sort of culmination happening here. It may be to do with relatives or your family. It may be to do with real estate, because this is also related to real estate. You might be moving, you might be finalising a purchase, you might be paying off a mortgage, finally paying that final one, or you may be finally you've signed the deeds, you've kind of put in the application to get a home loan, and now that's kind of coming to pass. Or it could be maybe you've been renovating your home and now that's coming to some sort of culmination or ending. For Aquarius, this full moon is going to be in your 3rd house. 3rd house is communications. It's also our siblings, and it's kind of, if the 9th house is higher education, the 3rd house is more like short courses, I suppose you would say. So if you've been working on, like a 2-week course or something, you might be kind of coming to a culmination of that now. This could also be related to your siblings, perhaps even cousins. I think cousins fall under the 3rd house. But yes, something to do with that, or communications in general. Perhaps you've been working on something, and now you're getting that out the way. It's done and dusted. You can start moving on to other stuff. For Pisces, this is going to be happening in your 2nd house. So this is related to your possessions and your money and your self-worth. Just as the 8th for Virgo was all about other people's money and shared resources, this is about yours. So you may be kind of paying off a personal loan, or you may finally, have, saved up enough money to go buy that expensive trinket, or you may have saved up enough money to go buy that expensive item that you were after, or, on a more subconscious level, maybe you've been working on yourself and how you feel about yourself, and that may be what that's all about. So if that's the case, the culmination will be related to money, finances, possessions, or your self-worth. So that's that for the October 2019 horoscope. I hope you found that helpful. And thank you for listening. I'll see you next month.